disturbing story. 2 Afghan illegal migrants yesterday raping this girl, jailed. Surely, at some point, Robert, somebody's going to go, these unvetted men need to be detained and deported straight away.
Well, it is staggering, actually, that such a conversation is just not happening in Westminster, because you're absolutely right. Every crime that is committed by an illegal migrant, and there are an endless procession of them at this point. I mean, just last month we heard of another Afghan migrant admitting to raping a 12-year-old in Nuneaton as well. So there is a almost daily deluge of these kind of things. Every single crime that is committed is directly downstream of decisions taken by politicians and the overly generous asylum system, which frankly at this point prioritises the rights of anyone from around the world other than British citizens. And I just do think of the trauma that this young girl will have to go through for many, many years ahead as a result of the barbarism that we let into our country, and then allowed to wander the streets in a completely unavoidable state of affairs. And this is part of the reason why we do see certain nationalities are overrepresented in convictions for sexual offences, and Afghans are at the top of that list. The fact that politicians are either uncomfortable to even talk about that fact, or very, very reluctant to take any steps to stop them committing these crimes, i.e. detaining them, really, really shows that we effectively live in a two-tier society at this point, where the rights of those that have broken into our country are actually trumping the right to safety and the right to well-being of the British public.
I don't think the British people have recovered from that situation down, of course, at the Bell Hotel in Epping, when the local council stuck up for the women and the mothers of these young girls, because there was a migrant hotel next door, and a man had attacked a young girl. The government took the council to court and basically said the rights of migrants should be prioritised over those of the British girls. Let me just give a bit more detail for people tuning in. And can I salute the Daily Mail? It's not often I do that. They went to court to get the release of the names of these 2 scumbags, Afghans Yang Yahazeb and Isra Niyazal, both 17, had arrived months earlier in small boats before assaulting this poor 15-year-old girl in a park on May the 10th. In this distressing 3-minute clip, the girl could be heard crying, "You're going to rape me." She was dragged away. She'd been drinking with friends in Leamington Spa in Warwickshire. And I repeat to you, Robert, what I've been saying all morning, and I make no apology for it. One of the lawyers said that if this footage was shown, it's so horrific it would cause riots. The will of politicians, you say, is not there. Very soon, I don't think the British people are going to be prepared. I'm not talking about riots. I just don't think they're going to be prepared for this stuff to continue. It's abhorrent.
No, and I think, unfortunately, what we are actually seeing is a lot of corners of the establishment are now, rather than tackling the issues that would very justifiably make the British public so outraged, instances such as this, is they're trying to stage manage us. They're trying to control our reactions. They're concealing from us facts. You know, the fact that the Daily Mail had to actually go to court to get such information released, rather than it just being a matter of the administrative process that we're told what is going on in our country, really is indicative that the establishment, which thinks it knows best, is effectively trying to pull the wool over our eyes. We've got a real battle at the moment with proposals that the nationality of someone arrested or charged for an offence be released in the first place. And I actually think those arguing that this information is not in the public interest are doing so from a patronising place of condescension, and actually really only from a position of wanting to hide from the British public what is going on in our country. I mean, we have just enough data now to really understand actually the scale of the problem we do have on our hands here. A quarter of sexual assault and rape convictions last year were carried out by foreign nationals.
Right, let's just stop and let's just take a minute, because I want to be very, very clear about this. I think it becomes a point of debate when people throw out stuff, right? I want facts only. Just repeat what you just said. For all those people who go, well, either, you know, this is outrageous. None of them. There are far more white sexual offenders, or others who go, they're all this, they're all that. No, let's have some fact. What did you just say about rape and sexual crimes last year? 25%. A quarter of them, yes? You have this information, were carried out by foreign criminals. In effect, people coming into this country, yes?
In 2024, yes, and that is, of course, just those crimes for which individuals were convicted, and we know that there are very low conviction rates, and that doesn't take into account the smaller end of that spectrum, actually, the sort of the heckling, the catcalling, the intimidation as well.
But let's talk about that. 25% of sexual offences against young girls in this country are carried out by foreign criminals, people coming into this country with perhaps a different set of values, misogynistic views towards women. And you're telling me that there is not a politician in this government who considers that a disgrace to young girls, British girls, and wants to do something about it. You're telling me there's no will to identify that what we're seeing on screen, young unvetted men coming into this country willy-nilly, is a recipe for disaster?
I've heard absolutely nothing from this Labour government about what we do see when it comes to the data. I've not heard a single front bench or back bench MP mention that very, very basic fact, which comes directly from the Ministry of Justice and the Police National Computer. So that is, a quarter of sexual assault and rapes in this country were the result of a mass migration experiment that has been inflicted on the people of this country. And nationalities such as Afghans, we know, are roughly 20 times more likely to be convicted of a sexual offence than a Brit. I mean, when you compare them to other migrant groups, Australians, for instance, they're 135 times more likely to be convicted of a sexual offence.
And surely that has to be the conversation in a calm way that we have, which is that if you are brought up in a country with a different set of values, in this instance towards women, and you land in a country that has a different viewpoint of how you should treat women, that actually if you can't adhere to those rules, you should be thrown out of that country or not allowed it in the first place. I read something else today. Migrants crossing the channel in small boats are bringing heroin into Britain on behalf of people smugglers. This is from The Telegraph. Asylum seekers are being offered free or cut price crossings from northern France if they swallow, honestly, my life, they swallow packets of Class A drugs and deliver them to organised criminal gangs in Britain. So we've got drug mules on boats now.
Well, I think this has probably been going on for a very long period of time. I mean, it's such an open door into the country. It's inevitable, actually, that some drug traffickers wouldn't have noticed the opportunity. The thing that's really concerning about this story, though, is the Home Office's position that we do not recognise these claims. We do not recognise this as something that is happening. Well, you wouldn't, would you? You're an effectively defunct government department that needs to be put in special measures. You presided over hundreds of thousands of people coming across the channel. We're really not surprised at this point that you haven't worked out that a lot of them are coming in with very, very dangerous substances on their person as well. And this is really the problem here, isn't it? It's a Home Office that doesn't see what is happening in the channel as a national security crisis that puts the British people at risk. It sees it at best as a political embarrassment that it knows it needs to deal with, but doesn't actually understand why people are so het up about it. But, you know, it's an endless procession now. If it's not drugs, of course, we've seen people involved in perhaps terrorist activities coming across the channel as well. This is just such an open back door into whatever evil the rest of the world wants to throw into our back garden, that is staggering. It's been allowed to continue for so many years.
Couldn't agree more, Robert. It's always a pleasure. We love having you on the show. Thank you, Robert Bates.